What's up guys, this is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be doing another First Shots video. This time we have the PTR 9CT, otherwise known as the American-made MP5. Now before we do that, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you we can get guns like this. We picked this up over at Mr. Guns with the Patreon dollars, so I appreciate you guys for donating to the cause, and thanks for keeping us up and running. If you want to help out with the Patreon squad, all you got to do is go down to the link in the description and click that, sign up, and you get exclusive content and some cool other stuff on there as well. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. I really would like you guys to support that. Above all else, just go down there and give those kids a few dollars. Also in the link in the description is a link to the t-shirts and mugs and all that stuff that we got going on for the Honest Outlaw stuff that the missus made. So if you want to help support her stuff, go down there and click that link as well. Now, this looks strikingly similar to an MP5, and it should, because it basically is an MP5. Now there's some differences here, some key differences, some I really like, some maybe not so much, but most of them I think are really positive. For those who don't know, the MP5 is a 9mm subgun that was made in the mid-60s and got really famous in the 1980s and 90s and today. These are in movies, video games. They're one of the most used and produced guns ever made in the world, and because of that, there's an awful lot of clones, and this is actually a clone. This is made by PTR. They're really the first company to make a budget roller delayed system actually work really effectively. There's other companies that make the MP5 or make MP5 clones like Zenith and stuff like that, but PTR really does it well, and they do it for a relatively low cost. Normally, the MP5 SP5K, the semi-automatic version that you can get in the United States, comes in between $2,500 and $5,000 generally, depending on where you get it. I got this at my local store for around $1,600, making it significantly cheaper. So if it runs the same, works the same, you definitely have a win there, right? Well, I think if it runs the same, works the same, I think not only do you have a win, but it's probably a little bit better than the original. And I do own an original, and you can go look through my videos and see that I do have an SP5K, and I have shot MP5s on full auto and some machine gun shoots and stuff like that. So I do have a lot of experience with the platform. Right off the bat, a couple of features that come on it that don't come on the SP5 are going to be the M-LOK rail, bringing it into the 21st century, which I really like. If you're going to use this for anything serious, a rail is pretty much a necessity, just because you're going to want to have lights, lasers, vertical grips, or whatever you have, but particularly a weapon light. If you're going to use this for something like home defense, you're definitely going to want to have a weapon light, and this would be a great gun for home defense, providing it's very reliable. The other thing I like a lot that we are going to be using during this review is going to be the top-mounted welded Picatinny rail on top of the receiver there that HK doesn't do for an enormous cost, and the PTR somehow manages to squeeze in there for a lot less money. I like that a lot because it is 2021 and optics are a thing. I don't know the last time I saw somebody shooting a rifle for any serious manner whatsoever that didn't have a red dot or some type of magnified optic on it. So making a serious minded gun without an optics rail is just kind of silly to me, so I'm glad that the PTR came with that. Also comes with the adjustable drum sight from HK, but it doesn't have the little V back there, and it doesn't have the sling loop attachment, which I don't think anybody really cares about. HK purists don't like stuff like this, but I'm a shooter. I like to shoot guns, and I like guns that function well, and I don't care much for purity of firearms throughout history, to be honest with you. If you want to add an accessory that makes the gun faster, more reliable, more accurate, I'm all for that. So if you're not for that, I understand, but that little sling loop does not bother me very much because you have an M-LOK rail that you could put a QD mount in, which works better anyway. Now, we do have a QD mount on the back of the brace here. It does not come with a brace. Some do, actually. I've seen a few that come with braces, but mine did not come with a brace, so I put my SB Tactical collapsing brace on there, which makes it more ergonomic, more close in tight, and it makes it closer, in my opinion, to the actual function and style that the MP5 was designed for. Understand that this is a 9mm carbine that does have a roller delayed system in it, which makes it very light recoil, but understand that it's still 9mm. So if we want to have some advantages over the small 5.56 guns of today, we're going to have to make it really ergonomic and really small and compact and really worth moving down to a pistol caliber carbine. Now there are advantages to a pistol caliber carbine. For example, in home defense, if you use hollow points, you don't get a lot of over penetration past your intended target because you get a lot of bullet expansion. Most 9mm hollow points go through about 12 inches of gel, and then after that they tend to fragment. So it's nice for home defense for that. It's also nice because 9mm is not nearly as loud on the old ears as 5.56, particularly indoors with short barrels. So because of that, it's really nice. Also, it's very economic to shoot. 9mm still cheaper than 5.56, even in 2021. And it's fun to shoot steel up close too, which we're gonna be doing here in a minute. This guy has an 8-inch barrel on it, which I really like. I like the SP5K, the subcompact version of the MP5, because it's so compact, but the reality is you don't get a whole lot of bullet velocity and hollow point expansion over something like a pistol, whereas with an 8-inch barrel, you certainly do. So you add a little velocity, you add a little pep to your step, and you add a little range as far as the ballistic capabilities of the platform, which is nice. You do have the loop here, and you do have the paddle mag release, which is really nice. Some of the original H&Ks didn't even have the paddle release, and they do all have press button magazine releases, but trust me, I'm a big old Yeti, and I can't reach the damn thing, so I seriously doubt you can either. So it's just easier and cooler to use the paddle release. Now, it does have no lockback on the last round fired, just like all the other MP5 variants, and it does have the super cool HK slap, which we'll get to down on the range, I promise you. Very ergonomic polymer lower. The grip feels good. The trigger actually feels a little bit better than the stock MP5 that I got. However, I did upgrade my trigger. And the safety on this is super stiff. I mean, real stiff. And from all the other videos I saw, that's very common. It has a tri-lug adapter on front, so if you want to add a suppressor, all you got to do is click it in there with the tri-lug mount, which we do have an Omega 9K, but I don't have it out here right now. It's actually on my other SP5. And we do have a 1/2 by 28 thread there, and we do have a hooded front sight to cover up and protect that front sight, and obviously keep it with the awesome MP5 aesthetics. So not only is the MP5 have a history of being very reliable, which it absolutely does, but it has a history of being really flat shooting, and it also has a history in Hollywood of really looking cool. So hopefully the PTR for the money lives up to the hype of the MP5, and if it does, it would be absolutely amazing. But we've had so many of these guns on here that were clones, like the Gideon Shadow we had last month, that just don't work at all. So I'm not going to get my hopes up till we get out of the range and fire some lead out of this guy. So why don't we just go ahead and do that right now? Those fucking plastic mags, they're see-through. And they look real cool. They look like MP5 version of Lancer mags. But those clear mags are just the shittiest mags ever. I wish I didn't buy them. I own like 7 of them now. All right, we got a lot of moving to do. Safety is a little hard to get to. You're not gonna like that. Just a quick little group. And then I threw one over there. Alright, so this is my little 35-yard group here. Not great, but not too bad with an RMR, and I wasn't taking a lot of time. As you can see, I threw one over here, but most of those are actually touching. So that's pretty good accuracy for a little pistol caliber carbine with one of the world's worst triggers, and what is that, like a 7 MOA RMR. It's not exactly designed for precision, but that's pretty good. I'll take that. We'll just move her over a hair to the right here, and move her down a little bit, and we'll be good to go. We're out. All right, so one of the advantages or disadvantages, depending on how you look at it with the MP5 series of guns, is going to be the loading, unloading, reloading process. And that's just simply because it doesn't have a bolt lock open. And I say advantage or disadvantage because it really depends on what you want to do with the gun. If you want to look cool, have a little fun, well then it's obviously pretty sweet. However, if you want it to run as quickly as possible, maybe not so much. So as you can see there in the last round fired, it doesn't hold the bolt back, but not much of a big deal. People talk about that as far as like, I'm thinking of like gamer wise, but as far as like self-defense, home defense, the concept of you running through 30 rounds of ammunition in a home defense scenario, it's happened, but not very often. So I don't think a reload, especially considering you only add about half a second, is really a big deal, especially as big of a deal as most people make it out to be. But it's certainly a fun little attribute of the gun, and it certainly hasn't slowed down its effectiveness through combat history. So I seriously don't think it's going to bother you that much in a home defense scenario either. But something that will bother you in a home defense scenario is going to be these mags. So I got these mags from HK Parts, and a couple of these work really well, but a couple of them absolutely do not. So this is one of the reliable little clear plastic mags. Well, I've already had 2 that have broken the feed lips, and now we have a 3rd one there that's causing malfunctions as well. But if you run these guns with the metal German mags, we've seen 0 issues whatsoever. Yep, and with the plastic mags, we already had some malfunctions.
Good thing I loaded those.
Right.
Wasted my time.
Well, it's like anything else, you know, magazines are the real heart of the rifle. Talk about bolt, barrel, all that, but if the magazines don't work, the gun's not going to work. It's just how it is. Glock's a super reliable gun, but if you put those crappy ass aftermarket mags in it, it's not, you know. How's that for some hip accuracy?
That motion?
It could be that. Oh boy. So make sure it's seated, yep. And then slap that charging handle down. And then you're ready to go.
I hate that.
I know you hate that, but you never played video games.
Is this good?
Yep, it's off safe. You are ready to go. Try to manipulate that safety a little bit and see what you think of it. I bet you don't like it.
It's not the worst. I thought it was gonna be real bad. Okay, now where'd my red dot go? There it is.
All right, what'd you think? That's the first time. You've shot the K before, you like the K a lot. When it's out of ammo, it doesn't tell you. So you have to drop the magazine using the paddle.
What paddle?
Hold the paddle, pull the mag out. You have to strip it by hand. There you go. And then you lock the bolt to the rear. You pull it back and up.
I'm not doing that. I'm too lazy for that. I got these nails.
Well, you don't know if it's going to be clear unless you do that.
Okay, fine. It got real hot. I should have wore gloves.
Right.
My little hand.
What do you think I'm wearing these?
My little hand was burning.
Yep. Well, we've already shot about 150 rounds through it in the first like 11 minutes.
That was a lot of fun to shoot, and I felt like super accurate with it.
Now, the MP5 and the PTR, they're really designed for 50 yards and in, but as you can see here, definitely has the accuracy and the velocity to go a little bit further than that. We're out at about 80 yards or so. We're just gonna plink around and have a little fun. Alright, so we're going to try to make this magazine work here. This is our problematic mag, and I can't stress enough how much I know this is the mag and not the gun, because the other mags are working perfect and have on the other MP5 too, and these mags also choked on the other MP5. So I know it's the mags, but I also know I have it half loaded and I kind of want to shoot it. So we'll see if it works. Nope. put it on safe, and I'll give it to you.
Okay. All right. Hopefully there's no malfunctions for me, because I'm not that good at clearing them.
Well, you hit a few of those. What do you think? You like that little gun?
I like this one a lot better than the other ones we've been shooting.
Well, you didn't like the Gideon, that's for sure.
No.
And you didn't like a few others, but I think you like the MP5 series just because the roller delayed system is by far the lowest recoiling system for the 9mm blowback. Even some of the delayed blowback, that has so little recoil by comparison to some of the others. It's impressive.
Yeah.
All right, so my first impressions of the PTR is that I mean, comparatively to the SP5K, it's good for the money. It shoots about the same, exact same recoil and pulse, better trigger, better features from the factory. We did have 2 reliability issues, but they were on those shitty ass mags I was talking about earlier, and I kind of expected that. I was hoping it would run through without a problem, but as far as the metal mags go, we ran 4 metal mags, 120 rounds, no problems whatsoever, and then we ran like 60, 80 rounds through the plastic mags, and the only problems we had were on one particular magazine, so it's just a real magazine issue. It would have happened on the SP5K as well. So as far as reliability goes, I don't see much of a difference. No difference in fit and finish. A lot of people complain about the welds. One of the big things that people talk about, HK purists talk about, are going to be the welds on the gun. They're not as covered up as maybe on an actual Heckler & Koch, or maybe on a Zenith or something like that, but I think they're fine. I barely notice it. As far as the effectiveness of the gun in the modern era, I mean, a lot of people talk about how the MP5 is the greatest thing that's sliced bread, and it was a really good subgun in its era, and it's really good today, don't get me wrong. It's effective. But for the price, I mean, you're looking at guns like the Scorpion, or you're looking at the XTAR EP9, or particularly the CMMG Banshee, and we'll have a versus video on the MP5 versus the Banshee pretty soon. I have a feeling that in a lot of areas, it's going to fall short. Longer reload time, not ergonomics that most people know, diminutive cartridge compared to something like Mark 18 or a BCM 11.5. It just falls in a little niche of having fun and looking cool. But as far as home defense effectiveness, it would work really well, but I think there's cheaper options. But hey, there's always cheaper options. If you like this gun and you like the looks of it, or you like an MP5 and you've always wanted an MP5, but you just can't justify paying that amount of money, I think the PTR is a really good way to go. I think that if I was going to buy an MP5, a full-size MP5, well, obviously I did buy this, but if I was going to keep one forever, I think I'd probably just keep this one. It looks cool. When people come over to shoot, they don't notice any difference. It's just an MP5 to them. So overall, it functions the same, looks the same, comes with some better accessories, and shoots really well. So in my opinion, the PTR, if you're looking for an MP5 for a little bit less money, this is a super good way to go. And on top of that, it's made in America, so that's a big win for me too. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.